A forced landing at Broome Airport had emergency crews on full alert overnight. A twin-engine commercial airliner had to circle for more than an hour after its landing gear malfunctioned.
After a tense hour circling the runway, the pilot took his chances. Ambulance and SES crews rushed to the disabled aircraft. Its two crew, shaken but unhurt, their safe landing praised by airport management.
They kept the nose up as long as possible, allowing for the fire units to go in behind them.
Broome Airport had been on full alert for almost 4 hours. The pilot radioing for help after the plane's front landing gear failed to extend.
The plane involved made a number of passes to try and determine its position. It was decided to call a full emergency. All the units were called out.
There were no passengers on board the 36-seater. It was on its first test flight after being grounded by a freak accident 3 months ago. A wayward eagle flew into it at 5,000 feet. A full investigation into this latest incident is underway. Alison Blanksby, 10 News.
In Melbourne, police are hunting 3 teenagers who bludgeoned a man to death overnight. Police say the man had been involved in another argument earlier.
24-year-old Mark James Jacobson from Yarraville suffered massive head wounds in the vicious assault. An axe belonging to the victim was found nearby. Police say Jacobson may have used it to damage a white station wagon belonging to the attackers.
But we believe at the time that the wounds were inflicted, that axe had been discarded.
A nurse at the scene attempted to revive the man, but he died before an ambulance arrived. Police say he was leaving a Cranbourne North pub at 3 a.m. when a brawl erupted and spilled into the street. Police are seeking 3 youths aged between 18 and 20. One had a distinctive undercut hairstyle with a ponytail. Another, with short, light brown hair, was wearing a cap. In another street brawl in Footscray, west of the city, 2 men were injured. One suffered a slashed face, the other a broken leg during the violent clash. And the air ambulance rushed a teenage boy from Charlton in northwestern Victoria to the Royal Children's Hospital after a homemade bomb exploded in his face. Police say the 13-year-old suffered serious facial injuries when he ignited a jar of gunpowder. James Sutherland, 10 News.
Sydney police are investigating the possibility of a drug connection in a shooting incident overnight. A woman was shot in the neck after an argument in her home at Mount Pleasant in the city's west. Neighbours told police the woman ran next door for help as a man and another woman fled in a car. As police searched for a man, they tonight charged a 37-year-old woman with attempted murder. The injured woman's in a stable condition in hospital. Further evidence has now emerged that anabolic steroids are deadly. A medical report claims there's a definite link between steroid use and murder.
Police were horrified by the brutality of Fiona Harvey's murder. The 21-year-old was found in the stairwell of a Sydney hotel last year. Her head had been repeatedly bashed against a wall. In admitting to the killing, 23-year-old bodybuilder Stephen D'Souza claimed he wasn't fully responsible because he'd taken anabolic steroids.
The side effects of anabolic steroids are sudden, severe and unpredictable.
Dr. Corrigan's report in the Australian Medical Journal reveals steroids can lead to murder.
These are very mind-bending drugs and people enjoy being on them.
Steroids have also been linked to severe psychiatric disorders, including schizophrenia, depression and suicide. And there's evidence children as young as 12 are getting hooked. It's still not clear how common steroid use is in Australia, but the experts fear we're heading down the same path as the United States, where nearly 3 million people use steroids at any one time. Dr. Corrigan is now calling for more education. He says without it, we can expect more steroid-induced deaths.
The sad part is that it's going to have to, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more before people start to take notice of it.
Georgie Gardner, 10 News.
Winter certainly came back with a vengeance in southeastern Australia today, dumping snow in 3 states and sending temperatures plunging. Adelaide's hills were blanketed under their heaviest snow for at least 12 years.
It looks like a postcard from the Victorian snowfields, but Adelaide Hills residents didn't have to pay a cent to get there. People were waking up in amazement as snowmen started popping up everywhere. Some snow even fell in the Clare Valley, but the heaviest falls seemed to be around Woodside and Lenswood, and the locals were lapping it up. Some had never seen snow before.
Only on TV.
It's better than Mount Everest.
Everyone was making the most of it.
Oh, just walking around in it thinking this is incredible. Taking photos, just taking rolls of photos. Seemed fantastic. I love it.
And we discovered an alpine emu. The first falls from 7:15 this morning lasted over an hour in places. It doesn't usually snow like this in Adelaide, and today's were the heaviest falls since July the 3rd, 1984. No more snow is being forecast, but for many it will be a memory they'll cherish forever.
Cold ice.
Mark Smith, 10 News.
Still to come in the late night news, what the weather's got in store for tomorrow, a rare sight in Adelaide, and all the action in sports tonight with Bill Woods.
Yes, George, we will have a wrap of all the football action, the Australian Safari, skiing from Mount Hotham, and Australia's Medal Haul in Atlanta continues. Our Paralympians lead the world.
Oh, good job.
Now to the weather news for the nation. Fine and mild weather continued in Cairns and Townsville. Brisbane was overcast while heavy showers moved into Sydney this evening after a top of 19. Intense snowstorms also blanketed the snowy mountains this afternoon, causing widespread havoc on the roads. Canberra, Melbourne, Hobart and Adelaide were all damp with tops of 9 to 11 degrees before it fined up across the centre to Perth and through to Darwin. Satellite photo showed heavy cloud over the west and several bands over the eastern states accompanying a cold front. But later today that front should move east and indeed become the low in the Tasman as that high moves slightly further into the bight. And as we go back to work, fine again for Cairns and Townsville, dry but cold in Brisbane, windy, wet and just 13 degrees in Sydney, rainy in Canberra and Melbourne, and more snow is expected across the Alps. Hobart can expect a few more showers. Adelaide's rain should ease. Perth and the centre are looking to a fine day, while Darwin's likely to have some early showers. Well, sightseers in Adelaide enjoyed a rare treat as a southern right whale swam up the Port River. It's the first time anyone can remember a whale entering the river, especially travelling as far upstream as this one did. Although the whale provided plenty of excitement for the dozens of sightseers, authorities were worried that the 12-metre mammal might be sick. But they needn't have worried. After an hour of cruising around the river, the young whale decided it had had enough and headed back to the open sea. And that's the late night news for this Sunday, almost Monday morning. Don't forget our next national bulletin, 11:30. But stay with us now for Sports Tonight with Bill Woods. For the news team, though, George Donikian. Good night.
The Late Night News Edition, brought to you by Telstra. It doesn't cost much to stay in